Hey everybody, Anish Majumdar here, career coach to the fiercely ambitious, at you today with a critical video. I've spent now a little over 11 years working with high performers at every stage, across nearly every industry, at forks in the road. They are looking at the road ahead. They want something better. They want a better job. They want a better title. They want better compensation. They want better impact over above everything else. But here's the thing. They don't want it the wrong way. And all of us who've been in the workforce for a while, we know what the wrong way is. We know how terrible it is when we get bamboozled into a relationship with a boss that makes us feel, instead of the excitement and the joy of starting something new and bringing our best to it, we're defensive, we're cagey, and we realize we've just unwittingly entered into an engagement with a monster. And how are we ever going to get out of this? And how are we ever going to survive? It's no longer about growth. It's no longer about impact. It's about, how do I keep myself safe enough until I correct this mistake and somehow get out? And we've all been there on some level. For some of you, you've had to endure this for years, despite your best efforts. Others, you were there for a couple of months and you had to get out. Maybe a couple of weeks. But we all know the impact that it has. We know how damaging it is to your self-esteem, to your emotional state, to the relationship that you have with your families. And I have to tell you, I don't want any of you to go through the process of finding something better and to have it just be ripped out and poisoned because you didn't see the signals coming, or you ignored the signals of who this boss is, who this person is, and now it's too late. I don't ever want that for any of you. And here's the thing you all have to understand, okay? Toxic people, they always give off signals. There is no such thing as that Dexter, perfect facade that no one sees behind. People are not like that. You can't be this rolling ball of insecurity, anger, frustration, toxicity, and not have it come out in small and not so small ways through the hiring process. So my goal with this video is, if I can turn the attention towards those warning signals, you are going to be in a position to better identify this and nip this in the bud. For each and every one of you, I don't ever want you in the position of having to accept one of those things, or having to ignore what you know to be the truth and go forward anyway. That's where we make the real bad mistakes. The worst mistakes we've ever made in our lives. This is true for everyone. It's not the ones where we honestly were trying to do something and we made an error. Yeah, there can be negative ramifications from that, but nothing that we can't recover from. The ones that devastate us, the ones that keep us up at night, are the ones that were preventable. The ones where we say, why did I take that role? I knew something was off. I had other things in the pipeline. I had other discussions. Why did I do it? Why did I ignore my own instincts? So look at the tips that I'm about to show you here as ways to bolster your own natural instincts, because trust me, over the course of your life, your subconscious, okay, it's been absorbing so much more in the realm of details, human behavior, human thinking. It knows. And beyond trusting your gut, I hope that these tips help supplement and give you a framework to work from, where you can identify these toxic people right off the bat, steer way clear. Say no openly. Okay, when it comes to this, okay, I promise you, your career will benefit tremendously, as will your state of mind in every aspect of your life. Okay, so what should we look for? Okay, you're going through a hiring process. Maybe you're directly dialoguing with the CEO of a company, COO of a company, whatever. Maybe you're directly dialoguing just with the person who's going to be handling, let's say, the marketing, and you're coming in here. Maybe you're coming in through a traditional process, right? What should you look for in terms of your potential boss, superior, that would be a warning sign here? The number one, biggest one, they just don't listen. For them, it's not an interview, it's a monologue. It's a chance for them to have a willing audience, and they know that you can't say anything but something positive. So it's a wonderful chance for them to bloviate. They talk about stuff, they don't take anything in, they don't take your suggestions in. The conversation never changes. That's a very, very key one. You have an hour-long interview with someone, an hour-long meeting with someone, and you get the sense that you don't need to be there because they didn't change one iota of where the conversation went. They didn't take in, receive, or alter anything. That should be a big warning sign. Now, I want to give you a little caveat here. Many of the things that I am telling you on their own, if you just notice one of them, well, make your decision. Maybe it's not the end of the world. I'm not saying that every person who doesn't listen is a bad person or a toxic person. My wife could tell you, I frequently will not listen. I will frequently tune out even though I don't intend to. That's not a mark that I'm a toxic person. But several of these stacked up, now you know what is going on, okay? So number one, I really want you to pay attention, okay? Is this person listening to you? Are they really taking you in? Are they engaging with you on a deep level, not some surface analytical, ego-driven level, but in an emotional, heart-to-heart level, human being to human being level? What kind of questions do they ask? Are they pro forma questions that they would ask anyone who comes in off the street, or are they tailored to your situation? If they're not listening, that should be a clue here that something is not going right. Now, the next one. Be on the lookout for bosses who don't keep small promises. You say, we're going to have a call at 2:15. You jump on the phone with me at 2:30. You don't say word one about it. That's a big problem. You say you're going to get back to me after I put together, let's say, a one-page, or a 5-page slide deck or something like that. And you say you're going to get back to me in 3 days. I don't hear back from you for a week. There's no explanation. There's nothing there. That's a concern. Okay? The way a boss keeps or doesn't keep small promises during hiring is a direct indicator of whether or not they will keep the big ones. You want to talk about a boss who brings you in for a role and then you realize that the role's like 30% less impressive than it is in actuality and they don't care about it, or the bonus that they said was promised is not there. You could see all of that in its infancy during hiring if your eyes, your ears, and your sensory acuity is open. So I want you to really consider that. Do they keep their promise? Do they get back to you when they said that they would? Do they get back to you in the right way that they said that they would? When you ask a question about, okay, we want to do a second interview, what are we talking about here? If they give you those details and then they talk about something completely different or they try to blindside you, really look for that, okay? Not keeping promises, manipulation under the context of false promises. These are big warning signs that you don't want to be around someone like that. Back in my days as an actor in my 20s, one thing I realized is that every good director in some ways has to be a manipulator, because you've got this huge ship of like hundreds, if not thousands of people, crew, actors, everyone. You're trying to get a result. But what I also realized is there's a positive way to do that. There's a positive way to influence and move people forward, and accountability is always there. And there's a negative, ego-driven way, a dictatorial way, where it says, I'm the leader, I'm the big boss, you're nothing, you're here to serve me. And so I'm not accountable to you, you're fully accountable to me. When you see that parity there, they don't keep their promises, but they expect you to ruthlessly keep every single one, and they keep adding on. Walk away, okay? Walk away. Now, you add not listening to that. Now you see what I'm talking about, right? These warning signs are stacking up and up and up. Okay, number 3. They refuse to acknowledge errors. This is a big one, okay? You're having a dialogue with someone, and I want you to ask yourself, the way in which they're talking about this company's journey, their journey, when they're looking at the road ahead, is it one that is fundamentally like a student? One that is fundamentally like, okay, this is what we want to do. Yeah, we ran into some errors there, but we bounced back there. And this one, I'm not really sure about what we're going to do, but that's why we need your help. That's why, we want to take a different approach. We want to break this out. There's humility there, right? There's openness, there's confidence because you're admitting faults. I grew up with a very insecure father, straight up. He seemed very gregarious and confident on the outside, but you can always tell, why? He never apologized for anything a day in his life. It is a sign of immaturity, and it is a sign potentially of someone toxic. When no matter what you say, and like, let's say it's relatively innocuous. Like, let's say, okay, you're an expert in building out IT systems infrastructure, and you start asking, okay, what's not working right now in terms of the business? Well, no, it's all working, but we just need it to be better, okay? Well, what's going on in terms of the IT and how that's supporting it? I mean, what are the major problems? Problems, I don't like to talk about it in terms of problems, No, it's pretty good, if we bring you on board, it's this, it's this, that. When you see that kind of defensiveness pop up, And the simple lack of human acknowledgement of something that has gone off the rails or something that is not right, that is a big, big problem. Someone who cannot apologize is someone that you cannot move past a disagreement with. They'll hold it on forever. And you probably know people like that in your personal life. We all have them. They can't apologize. They can't. They can't break the thread that everything is perfect because they're that insecure on the inside. I really want you to be aware of that. A boss who cannot apologize is a boss that is going to be a nightmare to work with, because guess what? You make mistakes. You make errors. You fall down. You get back up. They never do. What they're saying is, I'm always perfect, and you can't work productively with a person like that, okay? Next, they talk about virtues instead of embodying them. You sit down with me. I'm running a company, and I waste 15, 20, 30, 40% of your time talking about, ooh, we got the greatest culture on planet Earth. No one has a culture like us, all right? We're the best. We communicate so openly. We're so accountable. I'm just regurgitating these words. You know what you can guarantee? Our culture is pretty crap. Compensation's pretty crap. No one really talks to each other. And the reason you know that is because these are things that are either there or they are not. But only someone fundamentally unethical or delusional would try to take that and use it as a selling point. In our experience, when we see employers chatting up soft details like that, culture, etc., they're setting up for a lowball offer. At best, if you get an offer. Okay? They're touting things that they don't have, just like, and it's the same strategy of a farmer putting a scarecrow up in the middle of the farm, right? Look at this. Look at this. Don't look beyond this. Just look over here. Okay, great culture. Take me at face value. Take me at face value. Don't ever fall for that. Okay? No boss, no leader who has integrity is going to waste your time or patronize you by telling you things like what a great culture we have, like what awesome retention we have, like what a fantastic competitive edge we have. That will either be divined by you based on what you know and what you're coming to know, or it will not. But it should be absolutely immaterial to a potential boss of yours, okay? So I really want you to look for that. If they are paying face value to those types of things, you can bet they have something to hide, or at worst, they are the exact opposite. Like what they're touting in behavior, in terms of day-to-day, they are exactly the opposite. In a line that bounces off that one, okay? The next one is terrible bosses, nightmare bosses. They are absolutely paranoid about losing control of the message. Here's what I mean. I'm telling you we have a great culture. I'm telling you all of that. You say, okay, great. Hey, could we talk to someone? No. They're not ready. They're busy. Don't bother them. Okay. So you say you have a great culture. Hey, could I talk to the head of HR? Well, no, she's busy. And when you've accepted the role, when you've said, yes, absolutely, you can talk to her, we'll make that time. You know what I mean? Although she's pretty busy right now. Can I do a little walkthrough here? Yeah, no, we can schedule that. But right now, why don't we just keep it here? There's some questions I want to ask you about your resume, blah, 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 blah. Right? They're extremely paranoid about losing control of the message because they know that the instant that they do that, other voices are going to come in, other perceptions are going to come in, and they don't want you exercising your free will in that way. They don't want you drawing your own conclusions because they know that the reality cannot sustain it. A boss who has integrity, a boss who is someone who is not only going to be someone that you report to, but a potential mentor, a teacher, someone who can see and bring out things in you that you didn't even know were there in the beginning. They're never like that. They're open with it. I encourage you to do your due diligence. Wow. Sorry. I encourage you to do your due diligence, right? I encourage you to speak to whoever you need to. I'll set up meetings if you want. Next week, I can set up meetings with all the major people that you're going to be working with. Tell me what you think about that. Tell me if that makes sense. I've got nothing to hide. I'm open. I'm an open book because I live my life with integrity, and I know that my way of looking at things on some fundamental level will be supported by others. If you see paranoia pop up, this should be a big warning sign. If there's not a degree of openness there in terms of that, that is a big warning sign, okay? Now, finally, this last one that I want to close with, it's kind of the most esoteric, but in a way it's not. And remember what I said about how your subconscious over every year that you've been alive, okay? It's been compiling all of these details. It's been watching so many different variations of how human beings deal with things, how they cope with things, how their personality manifests or doesn't manifest itself, right? How toxicity manifests itself. Well, if you just leave a meeting or you're getting to know someone and they just consistently leave a bad taste in your mouth, that alone should be a reason to potentially walk away. You know, life is short, guys, and we can't spend our lives trying to make do with less than ideal personalities. We all had to go through that in school, right? We didn't have a choice. You got to spend years with these, jerk offs. You know what I mean? Some of them, I mean, the bullies, the manipulators, right? They're all there. They don't just disappear. But we're adults now. We have the opportunity now to say what we want, to claim what we want, to move forward in the way that we want. It's too late in the day for us to be thinking about placating people who don't deserve it. And so if you're consistently just feeling lesser than, if you consistently feel like, I don't know, I feel frustrated, I feel angry every time I speak to this person, I just don't feel like I don't feel heard, I don't feel seen. If that's the case, walk away. Okay, and you don't need more of a rationale than that. But again, just to recap all of these, right? They don't listen, right? They monologue, they don't listen, right? They don't keep small promises, because that's an indicator of whether they're going to keep the big promises made to you once you're in, okay? They refuse to acknowledge errors. It's a huge one. Huge sign of immaturity, huge sign of ego, huge sign of a manipulative personality, okay? They talk about virtues instead of embodying them. They are paranoid about losing control of the message, right? They do not want you going outside of this one source, because this is the manipulation source. Everything here is honesty, right? They don't want you there, right? And finally, do they leave consistently a bad taste in your mouth? If you are talking to someone about potentially joining their team, coming on board, and these warning signals start to stack up, I want you to listen to me and listen to your heart here. Get away. Walk. You know what? Don't walk. Run away. Okay? These people are the ones that we need to avoid. And I also just want to say this, okay? The majority of people are not like this. The negative personality types, the manipulators, they get the coverage because, our human nature, we're wired to pay attention to threat. What we don't pay attention to are things that are not a threat. And I want you to know that the majority of people are not like that. The majority of people that you're going to encounter are not like that. But one bad mistake here can have a massive impact. So steer clear of these people at all cost. Don't let them hang a potential position over you, because by the time that they're done with it, that'll be ashes in your mouth in terms of what you got from it. It is much better to know it early and walk away and spend your time generating, closing opportunities with people who are going to love to work with you, who are going to be excited and are going to respect you out of the bat. Okay? And if you're having trouble, generating those opportunities, and I know that for a lot of people, especially people who are locked in this traditional way of sending a resume, be a subservient slave, and hopefully someone will get back to me, if you're having trouble with that, I want you to understand, and that's the reason why you're continuing to explore an opportunity that has some of these indicators, I want to challenge you to do it a different way. I want you to go over to helloanish.com right now. I've synced up a brand new masterclass on how to land your dream job during disruptive times. It's going to teach you exactly the shifts that I lead my masterminders through that gets them from where you are today to a place where they have full control over the relationships they're building, over the opportunities that they're generating, and the offers that they're generating on top of that. It works as an average 75 to 85% faster than any traditional method out there. It results in game-changing offers, and most importantly, it does it in a way where it's not a war of attrition. It's not this frustrating, deadly, tiring, exhausting process. It's one that is truly empowering and one that allows you to play ball in a totally different way. What I teach there is exactly the system that changed my life first before I taught one person. Now, with over 1,600 others, I can tell you it will work for you if you are ready, willing, and committed to do things in a different way. It is totally free. helloanish.com. Hop over there right now. Take this class. It will help you fill in the blanks, okay? Steer clear of these people. Go right towards kindred spirits. You deserve it. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.